Welcome to what I hope will be the first in a series of tutorials on using AI tools. It's about things like ChatGPT and Claude and Grok, the sort of thing. So here's what we'll cover in this first tutorial in the series to get started. I'll begin by showing you a quick overview of some of the main different tools available, and then explain which one you should choose. As a spoiler alert, it doesn't actually matter which one you choose. I'll then give a quick overview of what constitutes a good and a bad prompt or instruction to your favourite AI assistant. And then finally, we'll look at when you should use AI tools. Pretty much everywhere is the answer. But I'm going to hand over now to my virtual alter ego, who'll present the rest of this video. So let's get started. So what I want to do now is look at some of the AI assistants available. There's a bewildering number. Let's have a look at a few. There's ChatGPT, there's Claude, Grok, Mistral, Gemini, DeepSeek, and Meta AI. So let's look at those in a bit more detail. ChatGPT was created by OpenAI and was the original AI product which changed the world in 2017, no longer ago than that. It's 49% owned by Microsoft, and I think could be viewed as a Microsoft product, particularly as they provide all the data service for it, although I think people like Sam Altman of OpenAI would probably disagree. There's Claude, which has a very good reputation in the business world. It's quite fun to use. That was created by Anthropic, a spin-off from OpenAI, of people who wanted to provide what they saw as safer standards. Grok was developed by your friend of mine, Elon Musk, quite recently in 2023 to provide unfiltered answers, which included memorably claiming to be Hitler at one point, and also providing deep fake videos of Taylor Swift, which were quite offensive. But whatever floats your boat. There's Mistral, which was and is the great hope of Europe in fighting the American AI giants. There's Gemini. Gemini is Google's AI assistant, and it's probably the one you'll have seen most frequently because it's the one which appears at the top of every Google search if you have AI turned on. There's DeepSeek. DeepSeek is actually one of many new AI assistants which have been launched in the last 6 to 12 months in China. And finally, in this very quick snapshot of different AI tools, there's Meta AI, which is Facebook's, Meta's AI platform built using their Llama platform. So which one should you choose out of all those offerings? So I've written a couple of blogs in the past about which AI tool you should use, and you can see the URL for this in the program or the course show notes. So on the last one, which was on 5th of June 2025, what I did is compared these four tools, because they seemed to me for the leading tools at the time anyway. And I compared them over 5 different categories. So how well you can use the AI tools to summarize text, to write program code, to present arguments, to create images, and for creativity and role-playing. And the results were that now, more than ever, it really doesn't matter which AI tool you use, with the possible exception of creating images, which not all tools support. And because of this, I've made the decision on this course, somewhat arbitrarily, that we'll use ChatGPT. It's probably the most known AI tool, and it happens to be the one for which I've got a license. And specifically, what we'll probably do is use the latest model, which is GPT-5. So you will be seeing this screen quite a bit, but it really doesn't matter which AI tool you use, I don't think. So let's suppose you're organising a dinner party for these 4 slightly hungry-looking people. This image was created, as you're probably not surprised to expect, in ChatGPT, but it does need a bit of tweaking, not least in the distribution of crockery and cutlery. So you might just say, what can I make to eat tonight? But in general, short prompts like this won't give good results. ChatGPT does its best and asks you some more questions. It would be better to give a longer prompt. So for example, you could say, I'm hosting a dinner party tonight for 4 people. Myself, my wife, my friend Bob, and his partner Pat, and I've given details for each of those people. Please can you present 3 meal ideas in a table with the following headings: the name of the meal, a description in no more than 30 words, a list of the ingredients, and the total cost for enough food to feed 4 people. Please don't include any extra words. I've included that because ChatGPT, like all AI tools, has a habit of waffling. So a longer prompt like this is more likely to give good results. And you can see that after a short period of time, I get an excellent table summarizing the results. And I quite fancy the second one, actually. So what I could do now is to follow that up by saying, please, could you give me some more details about option 2? And it's given me an overview of it, the ingredients of it, with a price for each. And I suspect it's going to follow up with a recipe at the bottom. And I'll stop it now because you get the idea by clicking on that square. And that's pretty much a guide to creating effective prompts. The more effort you put into it, the better results you'll get out. So it's very tempting to think that Google is the muscular, capable alternative and the first resort to go to when running a search, and that ChatGPT or other AI tools are slightly puny second best resort to turn to. I believe that's exactly the wrong way around, and the main thrust of this series of courses is to try to convince you that's the case. So what I thought I'd do is just give you a few fairly random uses of AI tools, and I've run variations of every single one of the following. So you might be gardening and think, I wonder what that flower is. You might ask, what is it? Is it a weed? And then you might start getting advice on what you could plant in the flower bed instead, given your soil conditions. Or you might be reading a contract. What does all this mean? You might ask to rewrite it in plain English, or just say, am I okay to sign it? You might be planning a holiday. Where should we go on holiday, given all the different criteria that the family apply? Where's a good place to stay somewhere with a high Booking.com rating? That's my personal go-to search engine for booking. Produce an itinerary for a 2-week cycling tour of Japan, and you could ask it to give the ratings of every single place on the way. Or, I don't like my job. What should I do instead? Which of these 2 jobs should I take? Can you update my CV, please? Or you might be programming. Why is this function crashing? Can you rewrite it, please, to use more comments and better coding? Or just write a program in any language to do anything? Or you might be trying to lose weight. How can I lose weight? Please help me to draw up an exercise program to suit me. Or monitor my daily exercise and suggest improvements to it. So it turns out that actually your favorite search engine, your favorite port of call for any question, should be your AI tool. And Google is very much a second best alternative. So my main message to you, not just in this first course in the series, but throughout the entire series, is to think when you're searching, should you be doing this using an AI tool instead? And would you get better results? The answer is nearly always yes. There's so much more on our website at wiseowl.co.uk, including blogs, shorter tips, tutorials on SQL and VBA, hundreds of exercises in all sorts of different software applications, and a chance to test your skills in a few selected software applications. In addition to all of that, you can watch our video tutorials like this one in all these different subjects. Or you could consider booking one of our training courses, whether it be classroom, on-site, or online, or even as one-to-one consultancy. Thank you for watching.